Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this evening's webinar on leadership and teams and how leadership can help improve the profitability of your practice. Now, we're in day 4. We've talked a lot this week, and I managed to get home in time, just in time after managing to get my dog to the vet to get them sorted. But now I can talk about leadership and teams to help you improve the profitability of your practice. Now, my experience from this comes in talking about this subject comes from really hands-on and doing it. We've made plenty of mistakes, myself included, in leading teams. So tonight is, I suppose, a summary of the experience I've had and mistakes I've made, and some things that have worked as well. But if I had to look at all the aspects of how to create a profitable business, if you put them all together, I think this is it. Have the right leadership style, build the right team behind you, and hopefully everything else will fall into place. Obviously, that's never so easy, because the key to me is that if you're having to do everything in your business, be the monkey and the organ grinder, do the dentistry as well as the management, as well as the recruitment, as well as do the finance, as well as the marketing, you haven't really built a business. You've built something that's just probably killing you and making it very hard for you. So it's really important to focus your efforts on your leadership skills, and then at the same time build that team behind you. Now, I did touch on some points earlier in the week, kind of a summary, and so I'll be expanding on those subjects a little bit further tonight. So without further ado, let me kind of crack on. And if you do hear a dog barking, it's our little Cavapoo, who's 10 weeks old today, and probably scratching at the door in a moment anyway. So this is a quote that I picked up along the way, and it says, "Our plans miscarry because they have no aim. When a man does not know which hobby he is making for, no wind is in the right direction." And that was by Seneca. Quite a inspirational quote, but very, very true. And that's very relevant to life today. If you don't have an aim, you don't know which way, therefore you're not going to know where to go to. And if you don't know which way you're going to go to, how on earth are you going to get your team behind you to support you and get you to that long-term destination? So what I'm trying to get across today is really, really important to have an aim, have a goal, have a vision. Now, I'm not going to go into detail of vision today, but one of the things that makes a big difference in your business and to your team is helping you have a mission or a vision of what you're trying to achieve. Why are you in practice? What are you trying to do with your practice? What's so special to you? And what are you then trying to get the team to follow? Because if you don't have a clear vision, the team won't follow you at all. They'll just say, well, he doesn't really know anything, or she doesn't know anything. So I really stress for you to think about your vision, what your plan is, and then that's the thing that's going to communicate to the rest of your team. I hope that kind of makes sense anyway. So let's crack on. Now, these are some quotes, and I'm going to go through them. So by some famous people, and I won't go into it in great, won't tell you who they are at the moment, but I will come to clean in a second. First one: by working together, we can build the country of our dreams. Number 2, America, the richest and most powerful nation in the world, can well lead the way in this revolution of values. And number 3, changing Britain for better, for good, not a society where all succeed equally, that is utopia, but an opportunity society where all have an equal chance to succeed. Now, if you listen to all these quotes, you may well think that they're written by the same speechwriter, but in fact, they're all different, but what they're trying to show is leadership. They're trying to communicate their message to a mass of people. So the first one, by working together, we can build the country of our dreams. That's by Martin Luther King, the civil rights activist in the 60s. Number 2, America, the richest and most powerful nation in the world, can lead the way in this revolution of values. That's by our friend, Mr. Obama, okay, Barack Obama. And number 3, changing Britain for better, for good, not a society where all succeed equally, that is utopia, but an opportunity society where all have an equal chance to succeed. And that's our friend Tony Blair. Now, all politically motivated, but as you can see, all these political writers or political leaders are really trying to paint a lovely picture of the future to help them get the public buy-in to their lovely picture and hence vote for them. And what they've done here is really use language in a way to influence people. And that's exactly what you have to do when you're running your own business. You've got to paint a future for your team, a future which is exciting, which is secure, safe, happy. And if you can paint that picture for your team, they'll stay with you, they'll support you, they'll get you to that destination that you're trying to get to. But it's very important that you paint that destination to them. And if they're aware of that destination, they can see that destination, and they're part of getting to that destination. They feel included as part of that journey of getting them there. So what I'm trying to say is, think about the words that you use, think about the things that you say, and think about the picture that you're painting to your team. If they can feel it, they can see it, they can visualize it, they'll be there to support you. And really think about how you're going to get that message across to your team. And your team might just be one person, or your team might be 10 people, might be 100 people. But it's so important to paint that positive image and picture that they're going to strive to get to. So let's move on. So I've kind of touched on this, but they're all, as I said, sound like they're written by the same speechwriter, and they're all saying the same thing: a bright future. And that's where I'm going to go to this point. Most powerful speeches always appeal to all the passions of the heart, not just self. So in those points in those written speeches, they're always appealing to all the passions of the heart. And there's a real emotional connection, not just for one person, but it's for masses of people to feel it. And that is very, very powerful. So the question you have to ask yourself: do you possess the right leadership skills in your business? Do you have the power to influence? Do you have that ability to communicate so that people will follow? But because if you do, that's a very, very powerful skill to have, to get people on your side, to listen to you and to be influenced by you, to get them to do what you want them to do, to ultimately help you achieve and reach that goal you're trying to reach. So there's a phrase I've written up here: the key to successful influence, the key to successful leadership is actually influence, not authority. Now, lots of people think if you exert authority, perhaps to some extent exerting fear, that's the way to get the job done. Now, there are schools of thought that still see that, and you see that quite prevalently today in American politics in particular, where Donald Trump is seen as this all wonderful authority, wonderful, great authority, and he's trying to exert his authority and say he's the best and he knows everything. But if you go back in time and you look at successful leaders, they're not the ones who kind of shout loudest or try and create fear, okay, and create craziness. They're the real successful leaders are the ones who influence people. So what are those characteristics of such people? Well, they certainly have humility and will. Very much humility and will. They won't. They'll kind of take it in tongue in cheek. They're not going to brag about themselves too much. So they are quite modest. So if you look at this, Donald Trump, for instance, certainly doesn't have any humility and will. He's very ambitious for the American people and the American government, but is he modest? Absolutely not. He shows no modesty at all. He's a natural workhorse. I'm not so sure. Apparently, he eats lots of cheeseburgers, but he's there. He works quite hard, allegedly. So, if you're going to look at yourself, do you display these characteristics? Do you have humility and will? Are you naturally ambitious for your business? Are you driven for the business to succeed? Are you modest? And even if you make 20 times more than your nurse does in terms of income, are you modest about it? You're not rubbing it in their faces. Are you working hard? So score yourself, or score the person you work with. How do they rate on this characteristic, on these characteristics? What do you think? Let's move on. So some real steps to be much more powerful leader. And I'll go through these and I'll talk about it in more depth in a moment. Real 10 steps to more powerful leadership. Firstly, you've got to show your passion to your team. No passion, people don't buy into you. Okay, so you've really got to exert your passion and show how excited you are about what you're trying to achieve. Another skill is you be the person you know you were made to be. So to be more powerful, you've got to believe in yourself, okay, and have the courage of your convictions. So even when everyone else is floundering around you, and even when everyone else is thinking, oh no, you can't do this, it's going to fail, or problems going to occur, you've got to keep going. You've absolutely got to keep going. So a great story. I remember looking at myself many years ago. But when I started off the business of Samera, I was an investment banker, earning a very good income at a very young age. Very nice, juicy six-figure income at a very young age. But I knew that wasn't for me. I knew I didn't enjoy it, and I had to leave. I had to take steps and start my own business. And whilst everyone else around me, my colleagues, my family, or certain members of my family, some of my friends would say, oh no, you can't leave that wonderful paying job in the city. I took the courage of my convictions and said, you know what, sod that, screw that, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to start my own business. And here I am today, 15 years later, doing what I love, enjoying what I do, and having fun. Number 4, focus on things that are more important to you and others. So really important point here is you've got to focus. Okay, focus on the things that are important to you, not what other people want, but what you do, what you want to focus on. So that's real leadership. Focus on those aspects. Number 5, decide to make a significant difference. There's no point in doing something if it's just going to make a blip in the ocean. Okay, these types of people want to make a big difference. They go for it. Okay, even when the chips are down, they'll still go for it. Number 6, they dump trivial and unimportant things. So they don't focus on little things that which are petty. You know what? Screw it. Don't worry about it. Number 7 kind of goes back to number 1. Put your heart into the business and its people. So really go for it and put your energies and efforts and time and blood, sweat and tears into it. Number 8, they treat others as you would want to be treated yourself. So they have the same skill set, that they respect other people as long as they're being respected backwards. Okay, so it's important. Number 9, and it goes back to that bit earlier, they show people how you're going to build a better world and how you're going to build a bright future. Those are some of the skills. And then at number 10, have fun. So really important to think, do you have those skills? And if not, can you develop these skills to show people how you're going to do it? So another example might be to look at look at as an analogy of in for instance sport. Okay, a great example, a great leader we all probably heard of, and who stuck with what he's done over the years is someone like Alex Ferguson, who was the Man United manager. Okay, and he came from Aberdeen, was a bit of a nobody initially in terms of English football, but he stuck with what he wanted to do. And he believed in what he was trying to achieve, and he had the courage of convictions of getting the right players and developing the youth team. And he kept on going and going and going, and didn't really care what other people were thinking. Similarly, Arsene Wenger at Arsenal, he did exactly the same. Built the young team, kept going and going and going, not listening to what the media say, what the press say, just not really worried about it. Jose Mourinho again. So these are all, and hence what other adults, their business or their football team has done significantly well. Same principle, you look at Apple, Steve Jobs, great leader. Not necessarily the nicest of people, as if you read his books and read things about him, but he was very powerful, very influential about the picture he wanted to paint and create a better world, and that's exactly what he did, and he did that. There are plenty and plenty of people in history that have displayed these skills. Similarly, someone like Winston Churchill showed his passion, had the courage of his convictions to go against what everyone else was saying, and put his heart into what he was trying to do, and wanted to paint a better world for the British people. And again, another example is Mahatma Gandhi. Same principle, doing the same thing. So these are 10 steps to a more powerful leadership. Just think about it yourself. So do you have that skill set for yourself? So so those were the 10 steps to more powerful leadership. But the characteristics of strong leaders are these kind of aspects. So they're self-aware, so they're aware of who they are, their ability, their weaknesses, their strengths. They are target-driven. So they will say they want to hit 100, and they'll try and strive to hit 100%, or they'll try and get near to it. So very much they have a target. They'll set a target for themselves, and they'll try and achieve it. If they want to make £1 billion, they'll try and hit and achieve that £1 billion. So they really want to hit that target. They're relationship hungry, so they enjoy working with people. They enjoy the banter, the arguments, the disagreements, the agreements with people, but they're very relationship hungry. They want to work with people. They're organisation influenced, so they think having an organisation structure is very important, and I kind of think they're right. They're linked into their neighbourhood, so they're well connected, so they're well networked up, and try to build that influence within their network. And finally, they're globally concerned. They don't just think about themselves. They don't just think about their immediate team. They think about the wider implications of what they're trying to do. It's not all about me, it's about everyone. And again, if you go back to our friend Trump, all he's thinking about is make America great again, but he hasn't really thought about the impact that's having on the wider communities of immigrants within the country, other countries who are doing trade with America, and that will be potentially his weakness and downfall. But we will see. Sorry to go on about Trump, but I have a bit of a bee in the bonnet if you haven't realised already. So this is a phrase: leaders grow, they are not made. And that was by Peter Drucker, a great American business expert. Leaders grow, they are not made. And that's so true. You develop as a leader. You're not made. We're all born with the same genes, and they grow. And your experiences of life will teach you to grow into becoming a better leader. We can all improve. Everyone can improve from their leadership skills. So at the same time, these are my kids, Paras and Ushma. They're actually just a few years old, this picture, but they're now 13 and 9. So they're our bosses. They're not our leaders, okay? They're our bosses. And this is a very important distinction. And let me just try and put that distinction to point. The difference between a boss and a leader: a boss says go, a leader says let's go. So my children, they're kind of quite bossy, and they just think about themselves. They're quite selfish children. Mine are pretty good, but they can be selfish like everyone else's children. They say, let's do this, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. My daughter was sick today, and I want to do something, I'm bored, I want to do this, and trying to hassle me whilst I was working from home. Whereas a leader will say, let's go and do this together. So really think about that point. And it's very relevant in dental practice. I've seen it time and time again. Smita, my wife, I personally think, maybe I'm slightly biased, a particularly great leader. She will influence people very, very well. She'll work with all the clinicians really well and get them to motivate them to do well for themselves and the patients. But then also the cleaner who gets the lowest salary, if she needs help, she'll help them. And it's about showing to the whole team that you will pitch in. So myself, Smita, we're always there moving stuff, cleaning the floors, showing that we're not below anybody, okay? Everybody is a human, and everyone deserves respect. So we'll be the first to get our hands dirty and get involved and be cleaning that floor if need be. And I think the team really value that, and I think the team really appreciate that. You know what? We're just human, just like themselves. Just because I'm the owner of the business or I'm the most senior person doesn't mean I can't clean the floor. It shows people that, you know what, everyone can do it. Okay, so the difference between a boss and a leader: a boss says go, a leader says let's go. And this is where it goes back to, as I started earlier, you'll need to want to lead people on the journey you are embarking. Okay, and that's the point. And that goes back to painting that vision, that picture of what you want to create in the future. So I would suggest after this webinar, if your homework, I suppose, is spend 15 minutes, 20 minutes writing down what's your vision of your practice? What's the vision of what you're trying to paint for the future? What is it? Okay. Then crystallize it in your head, write it down on a piece of paper. And then that should be the thing that you communicate to your team. What are you trying to create? What are you trying to achieve? Okay. And that'll be the way they'll be getting on that journey with you to achieve that destination. So whilst we're looking at leadership, it's also about having that team, because you can't lead nothing. To be a successful business, you need people, you need quality people, and therefore you need to build that great team. So as we said earlier, mission is at the heart of what you do as a team. What is the team trying to achieve? What is the business trying to achieve? And a business which makes nothing but money is a poor business, as Henry Ford said. And I kind of tend to agree. And money's by the by. There's a lot more to be done in business than making money. It's about leaving a mark in the world. It's about doing good. It's about helping others. And one of the things I know our firm do, we're very actively involved in supporting charities, and my team get involved and do their own charitable stuff as well. So I really stress that as a really important aspect. Don't just think about making more profit and more money. Yeah, we all need money to live, but it's also about making a really healthy environment for people to come to work to, for people to enjoy to come to work for, and for people to have fun. And that's to me is probably more important than the money. Money is just a certain element of that. And creating that wonderful team, creating that wonderful environment is all about going back to what your vision is. Okay, what is your vision? What you're trying to achieve? And if you can get that crystallized in your mind and communicate it to your team, you will value it, they will value it, and it'll be a very, very exciting future. So I mentioned this the other day, but I'll kind of talk about it here again. It's, as Jim Collins said, first who, then what. So you need to think about getting those right people on your team, and who are those people. And those people are the people who have the characteristics that you want. They have the right attitude, they're motivated, they're hungry, they're keen, they have a similar ethos to you. So it's about getting those right people on your bus and then figuring out together where to drive it. It's who questions before what. So who should I get? Who are they? And you have to be rigorous in making those people decisions. It's you have to be thorough. You have to be very, very rigorous. I know mistakes that personally I've made in my recruitment over the years is I haven't been rigorous enough. They've been very nice at interview. They've been very friendly. And you think, oh, okay, let me take them on. And lo and behold, before you know it, 6 months down the line, you're kind of thinking, why on earth did I hire them? So you've got to be much, much more rigorous in how you hire such people. And our approach to hiring people now is it's pretty rigorous. We interview with multiple team members. We tend to do some role type of play situation. We may do some DISC models with them. If you're a dentist in our clinics, we'll probably do a role play in terms of we'll give them some treatment, some x-rays, and expect them to come up with a treatment plan to explain it to us in a nice, succinct and easy way to understand, along with fees that they would need to pay. And that usually separates the men from the boys. So when in doubt, don't hire, keep looking. If you're not sure about that person, don't hire them. a company should limit its growth based on its ability to attract enough of the right people. And that's the point, the right people. It's very easy to go and hire people. There's tons of people out there who want a job, who will jump ship from a job that they're miserable in to try and start something, to join someone else. And in my opinion, you could get that someone tomorrow, but really it's about attracting enough of the right people. And I know in my own experience, in our dental clinics as well as in my accountancy firm, to attract the right type of people is actually quite difficult. And recruitment agents will tell you, I've got a wonderful person here, a wonderful person there, but the true reality is you don't really know until they actually start, and you're 3 to 6 months down the line. But at the same time, when you know you need to make a people change, i.e. someone's dragging everyone else down, or being a pain, or it's just not right, it's just the chemistry isn't right, you need to act and change things. And remember, because otherwise those other team members will get affected and the good people will actually leave, and you're still dumped and ended up with the person you didn't want in the first place. So when you know you need to make a people change, do it. Okay, don't hesitate. And then this is an interesting point, really, really important point. Put your best people on your biggest opportunities, not your biggest problems. Now, because if you put your best people on your biggest opportunities, that's when things can get really exciting. Because you put your best people, they really think, oh, I'm really excited about doing that. I want to do that. I want to get involved. I want to make it happen. So put your best people on your biggest opportunities, not your biggest problems. Okay, very, very important point. I've made that, and I've seen it firsthand in my own businesses. If you put the right people, the good people, on your biggest exciting opportunities, they'll go for it. And if there's a carrot attached to it where they can be rewarded handsomely, they'll get even more excited. So let's crack on. Nearly wrapping up now. So going back to first, who then what? Debate vigorously with your team in search of the best answer in terms of finding that right person. Compensation is not a motivator. Get the right people in the first place. So a bigger salary isn't necessarily the right motivator. You need to find that right person in the first place. The phrase here, people are not your most important asset, the right people are. That's so true. I've had lots of people go through my doors over the years, maybe hundreds upon hundreds that we've hired in and out. And people are not your most important, the right people are. And that's so true. Finding that right person, though, is like a needle in a haystack. It's difficult. Whether it's a nurse, whether it's a dentist, whether it's a manager, whether it's an accountant, whether it's a business advisor, whether it's a tax expert, you name it, finding that right person is difficult. Okay. But when you find it, you want to keep hold of them. Okay. A right person, in my opinion, has more to do with their character, their attitude, rather than their background, or rather than their university, rather than their knowledge or skills. In my mind, it has everything to do with character and attitude. Okay, everything else, the knowledge and skills can be taught. They can pick that up, but they don't have the right attitude. You can say, in my opinion, thank you very much, goodbye. So attitude is, in my book, number one. Aptitude is like secondary. Yeah, it's great if they can do all the things, but if they haven't got the right attitude, I'm not interested, really. So in terms of finding a team, where do you advertise? Well, it's hard. You can do adverts in various platforms such as Indeed or Gumtree for certain staff, to the BDJ for dentists, to other online portals, to recruitment agents. Okay, and recruitment agents can sometimes get you good people. I've had mixed experience. I've had some very good people, and I've also had some damn right awful people. So you got to get that right. And then, how much do you pay the people? How do you actually pay your staff? Well, my view, you pay, and it's changed over the years. Actually, to be truthful, my view is, as an accountant, well, you'll be quite careful what you pay people. My view is, no, pay people above what they expect to be paid. Pay people above the market rate. If you do that, they'll think, wow, okay, I'm really valued. They'll even go out and do more for you and help you even further. So pay people well, really pay people well. if they're the right person. And that goes back to the right person. If they're not the right person, well, get rid of them, okay, if you can. I know it's easier said than done, or have a strategy to kind of moving them on. Other benefits you could offer, flexible working. I know in dental clinics it's quite difficult, but free dental treatment, incentives, bonus targets, that type of thing. In addition, offering them training that they can go on courses, that type of thing, that would be very useful for them. I think that's really, really good. But finding a team takes time, effort, and I know in our clinic it's a permanent job. Okay, we're trying to find new people. Okay, we've always got adverts out there, whether it's for dentists or nursing, to get that right type of person into the organisation. But when you get the right person, things fly. Get the wrong person, it's an uphill struggle. So, from our own experience, from our own as an owner's perspective, what are the 3 problems we've had in team and leadership? Well, problem finding staff, getting the right people in the first place, staffing. Another aspect that we've all done, I'm guilty of it, Smita's guilty of it, we try to do everything ourselves. We try to do the finance, do the marketing, do the clinical work, do the hiring, do the firing, do the CQC, you name it. But really that isn't really the right way of doing it. And it's so important to identify your strengths and your weaknesses early on, and really play to your strengths, and then find people who can really take over your weaknesses. You do that, you'll fly. Focus just on your strengths and get everyone else who is strong to focus on your weaknesses in those areas. And if they have the right attitude, things will be much, much easier. Your team, as I said earlier, their strengths are your weaknesses. Very clearly, their strengths are your weaknesses. Job done well and efficiently, they'll hopefully then get the job done well and efficiently, and therefore you enjoy what you do more, with a better work-life balance, and they're hopefully filling those gaps in where you weren't enjoying, and they'll do a much better job of those areas as well. So it's good for you, it's good for your team, and therefore it's important then to delegate those tasks, the things that are your weaknesses, to other people. So in terms of skills, what type of person are you? Are you a manager? Are you a leader? Are you an entrepreneur? Which one are you? There's no right or wrong answer. Leader and the manager can become a leader. A leader can be an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur could be a manager. It's really different. But if you go back to the whole skill set, I think if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to need leadership skills. If you're a manager, you should ideally want to have some leadership skills to lead your team, but sometimes quite a few managers don't have those leadership skills. So, but really you need to have leadership skills to lead your team, lead your people, to where you want to take them to, okay, to where you want. So which one are you? From our own experiences and my own experiences, it's so important as a team to be keeping the team happy. But however, if you've got the wrong team and you've made mistakes, and we've made those mistakes plenty of times, you'll have problems. So when you have small staff issues, you want to nip those in the bud and deal with those. And it's so important to keep the team happy, but at the same time, make tough decisions when you need to, and delegate where you need to as well. So my experience in terms of leadership and team, and I suppose it comes with experience. As you get older, you realize what's important. And therefore, from that, you can then communicate that to your team and realize there's a lot of unnecessary fluff out there. And to me, in my world, I've seen that getting the right team on the bus, and then together you driving that bus to the right destination, things will start moving very, very well. Get the wrong people on the bus, we ain't going nowhere. So leadership and team, I go back to the very first, this slide here. This is an experience. This is one of the trips I know Smita took recently with some of the team to Paris in this instance, okay. She treats the teams, if they're doing well, to Paris. My team, later this month, I'm taking my whole team to Berlin. It's so important to do this. It's good bonding for the team. Everyone has a good laugh, and people get to know each other further. And there's only benefits in doing this type of thing. and that only makes the team stronger. And then if you've got a team stronger, people work better together, and then from that, it has a positive impact as well. So on that note, I will leave you to go and think about what your vision is, what you can do about your leadership, and then how you can hire that right team for you and your business. I hope that's been of use. I'll check my thingy system here, and just to see everything's okay. Any questions? No questions on this tonight. Actually, one question we've got is, are there any particular courses that you suggest? Well, I suppose there aren't any courses, but I've learned a lot of my leadership skills, I suppose, from reading various books. There's a great book called Influence by Robert Cialdini, and that's all about how you influence people. It's kind of a marketing book, really, but it's also about influence and how you influence people. That's very powerful and very good. And then I've been on various kind of personal development courses over the years, which are also very powerful. And I just really strongly think about how are you perceived by your team, and how can you lead your team into real success of your business, because it's not you can't do it on your own. You need that team, and it's down to you to lead that team to help you reach great success. Okay, thanks very much. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this 40 minutes on leadership and teams, and if you've got any questions, please come back to me. Thank you. Bye.